Hi, Dan here with Gardenstead, and today I'm joined by Reid Williamson, who is the founder and co-owner of Sustainable Roots. So what's that all about?
So we do native plant gardening, pollinator gardens, invasive species removal and management, and workshops.
Awesome. All right. And what are we doing today?
We're going to be going on a little walk at the Humber Arboretum. We're going to be exploring some of the forests and seeing some common invasives here, some native species hopefully. It's spring ephemeral flower time, so we'll see some of those. Just a little deep dive into the Humber Arboretum.
Awesome. All right, let's go. So dandelions are not native, but are they invasive?
It's a bit of a hot topic debate.
Really?
They spread really effectively, which is the thing with most invasives is that they're just really good at being plants. Like they've figured out the best way to establish themselves in an area and kind of do the best that they can. But the really nice thing about dandelion and other plants, or like this plant here, which is called plantain.
Yeah, I know that one. I think it's like, I've heard it's good for like bites or,
Yeah, this one is so cool. It's such a good medicinal plant. Used for bites, stings, things like that. It's very astringent, so if you get a sting, it helps to like draw out that poison.
Right.
All of these can be found on lawns. And what are lawns but the biggest monoculture ever, right? So in that way, when I see dandelion on lawn, I'm like, thank you, I'd rather have you here than lawn, because you do provide food for pollinators, you provide food for other things like humans. So there's a network of mycelium that a lot of plants can use. I'm gonna just stop here because this is garlic mustard, and it has a compound that it releases that keeps other plants from being able to grow. So what that compound also does is disrupt those, that mycelial network that's happening, where plants are communicating to one another. If we have this compound going into the soil, disrupting those networks, then that's not happening as effectively. Trout lily, a beautiful spring ephemeral flower. So these little single leaves of the trout lily can be found kind of covering the forest floor right now. There's so many. Called trout lily because of the speckled coloring is similar to trout.
So when you say ephemeral, I'm not too familiar with that word. What exactly does that mean?
Here for a very short time.
Okay.
Yeah. Fleeting. Yeah, thanks for asking, because these plants are unlike some plants where like this is the window of opportunity and it's right before the trees start to leaf out, because soon this forest floor won't have any sun, or it'll have like dappled sunlight, and not many plants can exist in like that total shade. A lot of these spring ephemerals have their flowers really low to the ground and rely on ant for seed dispersal. Ants for moving their seeds around. Which is really cool. And I feel like when we think about native plants and pollinators, we think of like these very charismatic species of like monarch butterflies and bumblebees, which are great for the pollination part, but seed dispersal is equally as important once things are pollinated. And ants do a great job of that for these plants. In front of us, we've got a great plant called cattails.
Okay, cattails.
They're the like fuzzy hot dog looking ones, you know? Beyond these cattails, you might see a very tall stand of like bushy, long, feathery plants.
Those things flowing in the wind back there?
Blowing really beautifully in the wind.
Are those the phragmites?
They're the phragmites, yeah.
So those are invasive?
Really invasive, yeah. You might see them growing in ditches along roadsides, on the highway. When they come into areas like this, where even right now you can see there's so many songbirds, they like to nest in here. It's not effective forage for animals, so like not great food. It's displacing their native habitat, so plants that they would have been using. One important thing I want to point out though, I like to see all sides of things. It's still an effective carbon sink.
Okay.
So it's about weighing the pros and cons of like, if we were to get rid of all this phragmite right now, where's that carbon going?
It's gonna go.
Right.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's like, what is the best thing to do in these specific contexts? I think is always the best thing to look at.
There's like so many different things to consider.
Yeah.
Like I had no idea. This is like.
It's a hot topic.
Well, thank you so much for joining us, and a special thank you today for Reid for taking me through and teaching me about invasive species versus native species. I had no idea. There's so much to know. Thank you so much. Of
course, yeah, and I hope that you felt more connected to nature. That's kind of our goal here at Sustainable Roots.
Great, and where can we reach you?
We are on Instagram at Sustainable Roots Eco, and our website is www.sustainableroots.eco.com.
Awesome. High five.
Yeah.